to the cloud. All right, so to get started, I just want to give a little stats. So I am absolutely honored to have Stephen here as our guest. And as of June 1st, you have to be living under a rock not to know that he became the first male national executive director in Pampered Chef. So we have everybody muted, but there's a round of applause for you right there. He's been with the company, listen to this, less than 3 years, and is the fastest person to reach this level from consultant to national executive. He is 100% virtual and jot this down. This number is amazing. He has sold $457,000 since he started. He has 87 qualified recruits. He's already earned the trip to Paris for next year, the elite level Disney trip. And his team has welcomed so far this year in the first 5 months, 349 new members, versus 265,000 in all of last year, and has sold 1.75 million in the first 5 months of 2019 versus 1.47 million last year. He was also a 3-category Excellence Award Achiever last year and came in as number 2 in personal recruits and developing leaders. So every once in a while, I'm going to chat from the chat section in case you didn't see it. You already have one pressing question: how are you staying out of Facebook jail? But at this point in time, I am turning this call over to you, Steve, and from the bottom of a lot of hearts, I just want to say thank you for your willingness to share. And I know you're going to be with Pampered Chef for a long time, because for me, that makes the difference. Those who really are willing to share and are concerned about everyone in the company as a whole tend to be the people who have a longevity. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. So I love to do this. So super pumped to be here to join all of you. Now, am I right? These are all directors, right, and above?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so today I'm going to cover a bunch of things just because, it's a large group and I want to make sure that you kind of get as much info as you can. So I'm going to share some insights and tips regarding how to influence a culture for fast-paced recruiting growth within your team, right? Because we all want that, and or organization, no matter the size. And then I will discuss the important topic of having systems in place to seem duplicatable to your leaders and to your consultants, to want to have what you have, and then end with an example of one of my systems that has brought our team great success, which will be my host coaching system, and then open it up to questions. And then, of course, in there, I'll touch on how we inspire and encourage new consultants to fast track to director, all of those good things. Because the majority of our promotions are fast track promotions, just to be honest. So I remember in January of 18, my team was having great success, guys, selling, okay, as an organization. It was me and one director. I was an advanced director a couple years into the company. I was a part of the lead program with Home Office, which many of you probably are aware of. And I was on a call with Judy Joel, and I was just super frustrated because I was really the only person recruiting. And I thought to myself, why aren't more people doing this, right? Why aren't they sharing the opportunity, right? Why don't we have this fast-paced recruiting growth that I'm kind of hearing so many other people are having? We're all benefiting from it in so many ways, and it's the best thing we have in the catalog. And you all know this probably better than I do, okay? So then it hit me, right? I knew why sharing the opportunity was important. I knew it, right? Because that had been instilled in me by my upline, Stacy Itzel, that it should be just as important as selling. Okay, so equal parts. But I personally, as the leader, right, I was not putting that out there to my team. And at that point, guys, it was a smaller team of like 30 to 40 people, right? So we're much bigger than that now, but I understand coming at this kind of idea of creating culture at all different levels, wherever you are, okay? I wasn't talking about recruiting and monthly team trainings. I wasn't recognizing and incentivizing them for it, which is a big deal in our team. And it wasn't even reflected in our team name. So I immediately posted in our team page that we, like anything else in life, should be evolving as a team, and we needed a redo. Okay, we should be moving toward focusing on selling and recruiting versus just selling. So I changed our name, right, which used to be Stephen Joseph's All the Sales Superstars, to Stephen Joseph's Selling and Recruiting Rockstars. And that seems like a really minor thing, but guys, it totally changed the game for us, okay? Every time I posted on our team page, oh, there's a notification from Stephen Joseph's Selling and Recruiting Rockstars. Anytime somebody else went to the page to post, they had to go to Stephen Joseph's Selling and Recruiting Rockstars. Anytime somebody else posted, they got a notification that they were a part of a group that sells and recruits, okay? What that does is that subliminally seeps into their mind and it says, oh, wait, I'm a strong seller, but I should also be a strong recruiter. So let me think about what I'm not doing to actually achieve that, right? We also added an element of training about recruiting to every single monthly team Zoom. So informing and inviting, opportunity chat, how to respond to people with interest. We did a lot of screenshotting and a lot about overcoming objections. Okay, because that's a big part of this business on all levels, right? And I found myself, eventually I was like, oh, I just did that 6 months ago. Doesn't matter. Do it again. And if you begin to recruit more people, you're going to have new people to share those insights about those different topics too, okay? Then I incentivized their efforts regularly. And I set goals and I was transparent about them. Not only our organization goals, but my personal goals. Because, and I'll get to this in a little bit, I wanted them to see that I personally was striving for more with my business. My goal was 12,000 in sales every month. My goal was to recruit 5 people every month, right? And I'll get to this, but the leader sets the pace for the pack to follow. And it's important so they understand where you're headed so that they can decide that they can have as much as you think you're worthy of having, okay? And this completely changed the game for us, okay? My team members now saw recruiting as important as selling and therefore became intentional about it. They were honestly excited to be contributing to another goal that we could work together to crush, okay? So things changed immediately after this. Like, it was amazing to me how rapidly things flipped. In January of 17, we had 0 recruits. January of 18, we had 17. February of 17, we had 2. February of 18, we had 15. In March of 17, we had 7. In March of 2018, we had 26. Okay? So how do you first go about creating a team intentionality regarding recruiting to eventually develop that culture, right? And here I'm talking about recruiting, but this could be for any culture that you feel you're lacking and want to kind of boost, right? Blow up. You lead by example. Okay, so as I said, Ralph Waldo Emerson said the speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. The speed of the leader, right? You all, each one of you, determine the pace of your team and where it goes. And if it soars or sinks. Okay, I recently read an article that compared the world of direct selling and leadership to that of the relationship between a conductor and his or her orchestra players. And I'm a former theater nerd, so this really spoke to me when I stumbled upon it, but I think the different items I'm gonna go over will really relate in terms of what we do as leaders with this company. The article breaks it into 8 steps, right? Number 1, the conductor starts with a plan. They start out with a musical score and the clear idea of how it should sound. Only then did they attempt to recreate that in real time and share that vision with other people. If you don't know where you want to go, you can't guide other people there. Okay? Number 2, the conductor recruits the best players. Here's the thing, guys, great conductors attract great people, and mediocre conductors attract mediocre ones. Okay? The very best players want to work for the very best conductors because like attracts like. Okay? 3, the conductor is visible so everybody can see him or her. The conductor stands on a platform, right? So that every single member of the orchestra can see him or her. This is the only way the orchestra can stay in alignment with each player starting and stopping at the appropriate time. So I relate that to going for a national executive team, right? There's no way that it would have ever happened 3 consecutive months if we were not all playing together harmoniously with our eye on the prize, knowing what the expectation was every single month of those 3 months. Okay? 4, and many people will tell you this is more of a challenge for me because I'm like this, I'm a get it done kind of person. The conductor leads with his or her heart. Great conductors are swept up in the music, right? They're passionate. They don't just play with their head, they play with their heart, and you can read it all over their face. You can sense it in their movement. They are fully present and playing full out, and they are truly, truly invested. 5, the conductor delegates and focuses on only what he or she can do. How many of you would love to be in charge and do every single thing, cross every T, dot every I for everything your team does? Because we know the quality of our work, right? I equate having a team to being a group project in high school. You get somebody in charge of editing, somebody in charge of research. You know that you put forth a certain level of quality, but you're working with other people that may not do the same thing, and you have to hope that all kind of works out in the end. And you might have to judge it and make sure it's the way you want it when you submit it, right? That's how I look at that, right? The conductor doesn't do everything. He doesn't sell the tickets. He doesn't participate usually in the preliminaries. He doesn't even make sure the orchestra is in tune. The concert master does that. He or she stays off stage until it is time for him or her to do only what they can do, which is lead. Okay, 6, the conductor is aware of his or her gestures and their impact. Let's think about Twitter, Facebook, what we say in comments. A conductor can't afford to make an unintentional gesture. Everything means something. The flick of a wrist, the raising of the eyebrow, and the closing of the eyes all have meaning. And a good conductor can't afford to be careless with his or her public demeanor. Okay? 7, the conductor keeps his or her back to the audience. Conductors are aware of the audience, of course, but their focus is on the players and serving them through helping them have the best performance. The only time the conductor stops to acknowledge the audience is before the playing begins and after it's over. Other than that, he is purely focused on delivering an outstanding product through serving others. And 8, the conductor shares the spotlight. When the concert is over and the audience is clapping, the conductor, yes, turns to the audience and takes a bow. But guys, a good conductor immediately turns to his or her orchestra and invites them to stand and bow as well. He or she shares the glory with his colleagues, realizing that without them, this music would not be possible. Okay, so to me, these concepts really embody what it means to lead by example conceptually, right? In terms of actions and mindset to create the culture you want. We create a vision so clear for our teams to chase after, right? We provide them the tools to be successful. We actually do what we say we're going to do and don't just talk the talk. And we remain positive. We have a positive attitude when our team members insist on playing in the mud and being below the line. Okay? Now, guys, although I have not been in this world of direct sales long, research shows that direct selling as we know it has changed dramatically in the past 5 years. Social media communications have expanded our ability and the ability of our team members to reach beyond geographic borders and engage with different pockets of individuals we might not otherwise have had access to. We live in a world that engages and transacts largely online, right? Our social lives develop online. We purchase everything from electronics to groceries online, and we get our news online. Therefore, it makes a great deal of sense that our Pampered Chef business is also trending toward online platforms. And in terms of any growth and development that we want to experience moving forward, this is truly the way to experience fast-paced recruiting growth, fast-paced culture growth, anything that you want to blow up in more quickly than normal, okay? Now, this is the part where traditional Pampered Chef consultants doing only in-home parties kind of cover their ears and say that nothing replaces the in-home cooking demo or the face-to-face party. And I'm telling you, you are doing yourself your personal business and really your potential as a leader a disservice by not committing to having some sort of virtual component. And as I said, quite frankly, the virtual world is really where you can experience that record growth in record time. Okay, so let's talk some specifics about leading by example. Your personal business is the heartbeat of any goal and vision you set for yourself and your organization, and it's truly where culture is born. Your personal performance each month should set the bar for how high your team members can reach and stretch themselves to get more from your business more quickly. So what does this look like, okay? If you are an all virtual leader, you should aim to book 16 shows a month. 8 no longer makes you great when you are doing only virtual parties. Just keeping it real, okay? I find that 3 or 4 of them normally will not hold or qualify, and if we're super conservative and assume all of those remaining 12 shows we hold will only hit the minimum $200, that leaves you at about $2,500 in sales. While directors are required to only submit $750 of that $5,000 paid at title level, right, each month, you and your leader should not work to minimums. Your goal each month at a minimum should be to submit that $2,500 in sales. And if you're doing a mixture of in-home, if you're doing a mixture of virtual and in-home, that would be 8 virtual parties and 4 in-home. And if all in-home, then that 8 will make you great mentality still applies. When you are submitting a minimum of $2,500 in sales each month as a leader, you are leading by example and inspiring your team members to do more, to have more, to want more. And this will also put you in front of enough people so that you have a larger pool of folks to share the opportunity with, okay? This is a really important thing that really has allowed our organization to go through these past 3 promotions so quickly. A best practice that I really have followed from day one when I was a director, and I taught my leaders to do, is the idea of being director green by the 15th of the month. So they are paid at title, it's wrapped up by the 15th, okay? Does it always happen? Of course not. But with anything, right, when we lead by example, others are likely to follow, okay? I stress to my leaders the importance of front-loading their calendars in the first 2 weeks with the majority of the parties they book every month. So what that does is that gives them a really clear, in-control picture, right, of are they paid at title by the 15th? Are they close? Are they, did a couple of the parties they had scheduled totally bomb and they need to book more on that 3rd week, or maybe work even more closely with their consultants to figure out what they have. So the first 2 weeks, front load, that way they have a real clear picture, right? They are driving their business versus running to catch up to it, right? Because running, you get tired. Driving, you can put it on autopilot, okay? The 3rd week, I really stress them to focus on supporting their team members to set them up for success for the next month, right? With intentional time, right? Because I think sometimes we just check in and say, oh, hey, Marie, how's it going? How's your show schedule? If it's not scheduled and purposeful, it's not a fruitful conversation where you really leave where they feel like you filled them up and they feel like they know what they need to do to get what they want from their business the next month. And also, I taught them to really focus that 3rd week as well on all of their recruiting conversations, right? Because when you're doing many conversations in terms of recruiting at the same time, you're better at it, right? It's not like I have a lead from one of my parties in the beginning of the month, then I don't have another actual recruiting chat until the 3rd week because nobody's interested. When you schedule them in the same week, you're much more powerful in your engagement with those people. So it's like your game is up, right? In terms of being able to share the opportunity, overcome objections, have the best wording, etc. And then the 4th week, I encourage them to book as many shows as they had the 1st and the 2nd week so that they can hold those shows over into the next month. So again, they're driving their business versus running to catch up to it, right? And then they can say, okay, well, I'm a little short. Samantha and Jeannie and Marie said they had shows. They only all submitted 1. I'm a little bit short. I have all 4 of these shows that I can submit or I can hold them. And this one show will get me to be paid a title and then I can hold the rest. On average, my directors are holding $1,500 to $2,000 into the 1st of the month. For the 3rd month of our national promotion, we had 18 directors of the 24, I think we needed, that were paid at title by the 15th. And the way I couch it is, do you want to be stressed as a leader every month about going to the wire at the end of the month? Because I don't want to be stressed for you, right? And you have some people that think they know best and want to do their own thing, but I just say, try it, give it a shot, see if it works for you. And if they don't like it, usually they find that I'm right? So then they go into the next month feeling that they're, they can really focus on driving their business, right? So once our consultants qualify, and more on that later, we teach our consultants the same thing. So that the director teams are working together as a well-oiled machine, right? So that all of their team members have the majority of their shows in the beginning of the month, so they know I have that selling incentive wrapped up and I don't have to struggle to the end of the month to get it. And then they can focus the last 2 weeks on booking their next month or the month after that or whatever, so that they can be kind of feeling good about that and ready to go. Okay. In terms of recruiting, your goal at a minimum should be to recruit 2 people each month. You all know this. And I highly encourage you to set your sights higher because, guys, when we do, we'll likely at least hit the minimum. I set my goal each month for recruiting to be 5 team members because, as we know, we will recruit 1 person for every 12 to 15 we talk to. Okay. Now, back in January of 18, at the same time I questioned our team recruiting culture, I made a big decision, right? I thought to myself, what is something that I can challenge my team to achieve that will seem impossible in the moment, but will propel them to do more and create momentum? So I decided that we would promote to an executive team in 2018. I knew that developing this culture would make it more likely for future leaders to emerge, which would only help us build upon the structure needed to qualify as an executive team. And as you know, and this is kind of to your point, Nancy, Joe, you mentioned about how do you encourage this to happen so quickly. An individual working towards directorship, they need to have 2 things: a strong personal business, and they need to feel comfortable sharing the business opportunity. And doing these 2 simultaneously when they are brand new can be really harrowing to them because they think, I just started, I don't know what I'm doing in terms of even doing parties, I can't support somebody else, I can't welcome team members. So what I do, and I taught my team to do, my leaders, is I encourage all new team members to stretch themselves in their first 30 days with Pampered Chef. So on my first training call with a new consultant, I will ask them what their monthly income goal is. So for example, I'm on a call with Leslie, and I say, Leslie, you know, in a perfect world, if I put a big pile of money in front of you on the table each month, what would you love that amount of money to be? And then I say, you know, you really want to shoot for the moon because when you shoot for the moon, you're more likely to hit the stars, the cloud, the tree, the flowers, the dirt, right? And then they might say, oh, well, I just want to make a little fun money. I know that they can make a lot more of that than that when they follow my lead. So I would say, Leslie, why don't you just give me a chance to prove to you that you can make $1,000 a month doing this? So that if you decide once you get that $1,000 paycheck and you like that and you realize how little work you actually did to get that, you can keep doing it. You know that you can achieve that, right? Whereas if you decide it's a little more work for you than you would like to do in terms of having a Pampered Chef business, you can scale back and do what you wanted to do, which was your $200 a month. But at least you know what you're capable of doing if you really want to make money. What happens when they make that $1,000? They don't want to make any less than that any other month after that, right? So then they keep booking the same amount of shows, even though initially they said to themselves, I just want to be a hobby consultant. So what happens then is they feel empowered and supported. They think, wow, I did what Steve told me to do. I green dotted. I got my 4 shows in the each of the first 2 weeks, which is what I challenged them to do. And
say that again.
4 shows in their first 2 weeks, 4 shows each week. Because here's the thing, I look at it.
4 shows a week for their first 2 weeks.
Yep. Now, they don't always get the 4, but if you set the bar higher, they're more likely to get 2 each week. Whereas if I say, oh, get 1, they're going to get nothing. Right? So I say 4. The real go-getters will get the 4 each week. Most people will get 2 each week. And 2 each week with our virtual party average is $700. That's $700 times 4. That's $2,800. They're making a nice paycheck in their first 2 weeks. And they're qualified, right? So then I say to them, they're empowered after that. They feel supported. They say, Steve told me to do this, and this is the result, and it was what he said. What can I do next? What can I have next? How much more can I get? So that's when I say, well, you know what, Marie, like we've already set you up to have a great personal business this month and next month because you have this show schedule. And that's really one of the hardest parts about becoming a director and maintaining your title. Because we welcome people to our teams. We really hope that they stay around and they get it and they love it, but it doesn't always happen. But if you're personally selling strong each month, then you're going to be able to be paid at your title every single month, no matter what. Mm-hmm. So then I say, so why don't we talk about who we can welcome to your team and work to recruit so that you can really have it all in this first couple months with Pampered Chef? Because there's a $500 cash bonus on the table. That is one of the only cash bonuses that Pampered Chef offers, and I want you to have it. And if you want to have it, I want you to want to partner with me to get this and achieve it.
Uh-oh. How's your internet?
Mine's good.
Okay. You might have to repeat that last line.
I just said if you want, if you want more, would you want to partner with me to help you get that $500 cash bonus that Pampered Chef, is one of the only ones Pampered Chef offers.
Okay.
And that kind of mentality, guys, kickstarted our fast-paced recruiting growth of last year into this year with a total of 18 director promotions, 14 of which were fast track.
Wow.
Okay, so and clearly the more people working toward promoting, the greater your monthly recruiting numbers will be. We went from 1 director to 34 in a year and 5 months. Okay.
That is outstanding.
When I look at our recruiting,
just one more time, I just wanted to see. You went from 1 director to
34, yeah.
In 1 year.
1 year and 5 months.
Wow. So anybody on this call, I just want you to say, let that sink in. You start doing what he's doing, you could go from your 1 director to 33.
And I would say a third of them are upper level, and one of them is just promoted to senior. So, and that's really what you want, guys. You want to have a high level of upper level leaders. If you have a large organization, it should be, you should work to make sure you have, because if you do, they're more likely to stay, and the directors they promote are more likely to stick around as well. Okay, so when I look at our recruiting goal from 17 over 18, again, this business is rooted in relationships, right? But the numbers, they don't lie. If you're not a data-driven person, become one. If it scares you, learn it. Okay, I look at everything I do and I say, is this worth the return on investment? Is the return on investment worth my time? And that is shown in the numbers. Okay, so if you don't know your show average, if you don't know the number of recruits that you welcome on average each month, you should know all of those numbers, right? Because if you are not happy where you are and want to go somewhere else, you have to take that information and say, okay, if I am not recruiting the number of people I want every month, I need to do more shows. I'm only doing this number of shows. I need to bump it up by 10 and see what happens after that. I want to have a $20,000 personal sales month. Well, I'm only having a $14,000 personal sales month because my show average is this, and I'm doing this many shows, and this many are holding. Right? Everything I do is rooted in numbers. Okay? So our organization, as I said, we welcomed a total of 265 new consultants in 2018 and just 67 in 17. So that's a 300% growth year over year from all of the kind of mindset change and the mentality of leading by example, with Director Green by 15, et cetera. Okay? So as I mentioned before, fast-paced recruiting growth and really culture, the development of culture, requires duplicatable systems for others to follow and implement to experience the same success with a level of ease. Okay? How many of you struggle with where to start with systems? You can just like wave. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of waving. I get it, okay? Developing systems you want to develop systems for key areas such as booking, recruiting, time management, and host coaching, and then teach them to your leaders and your team members. And guys, oftentimes, we just can't wrap our heads around where to start with the idea of a system. So I will end this part here and then go into one of my systems with sharing the 5 steps to creating a system. You probably have heard this before. This is not my idea. This is something there was a video I found of Grace Botts, who I think is an advanced director. But I tweaked it to fit my style and the fact that my team is entirely virtual. So number 1, identify something that needs work, or you want to grow, or that needs to change. Okay? 2, ask yourself, in a perfect world, what would I like my results from this system to be? Okay? 3, brain dump all the ideas that you might possibly want in your system. 4, build your system based on your priorities, personality, and time. And 5, implement and commit to the system. You can't try it for like 2 weeks and then drop it, right? It's just like starting a new business, right? You're not going to make your money back from the business until you put some time and effort into it. It's the same thing with this. You can't try it, doesn't get results immediately, and then drop it. Okay? So just like our why for having a Pampered Chef business, these systems will evolve and change over time. A system that I have, guys, may not best serve your needs. The key, however, is working to put something in place for those critical areas to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. Okay? So prior to last year, I had heard countless times that host coaching is where we make our money and the party's where we pick up the paycheck. And I was like, what? Right? Prior to 2018, I realized that I wasn't getting as many bookings and recruit leads from my shows as I would have liked, and I knew I could be better. I thought to myself, what is the missing link here? Even though I had curated what I thought was a great show experience and environment online, which one would think would incite people to book or decide to sell, I realized the host really is the thread that links the customers to us and therefore drives the success of our online parties. But how can I get my host to commit, right? How can I engage with them so that it seemed like a partnership versus just a transaction? Host coaching and online parties is equally, if not more important versus in-home shows, in my opinion, for great sales, but also for obtaining future bookings and being able to share the opportunity with enough people. And in this case, it's the guests that the host adds to the group or invites to the event, if you're still manually posting in those, whatever. Okay? Successful host coaching helps to ensure your party experience for guests is organized and purposeful, which will in turn attract guests to want to book with you and or sell our products as a consultant. Being intentional and purposeful with your host coaching also helps to form a relationship with your host, as I mentioned. The goal is to help them understand why you are instructing them to do what they are doing leading up to your party. Okay? Then they feel that you are invested in its success and are more likely to follow your lead and work for you during the party and beyond. And by that I mean help you secure bookings from their party and potential leads or decide to sign up themselves. Having a system in place for this and really anything with our business allows us to work smarter and not harder, and most importantly, therefore, focus more on our weaknesses as consultants, which typically go unchecked due to our just trying to catch up and work with the day-to-day craziness of whatever our life entails. Okay? Having a system for host coaching specifically helps you to appear to the host as if you are the authority on how to run the best virtual party, and it convinces them to listen to you in order to have a great show. Okay, so let's look. I'm going to screen share and I'm going to show you my document. This is our host coaching Bible that all of our consultants use. I will share it with Marie so y'all can have it if you haven't seen this already. The only thing I would say is if you go and train to it with other people and you just, if you say that you tweaked it, actually tweak it, and it needs to not just be the same document. Otherwise, make sure you give credit to people when you're sharing.
And that's really best practice. You know, when you give credit to somebody else, they author it. Nancy Jo knows about that from way back. We all feel that way.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay. So can you guys read this or do I need to blow it up?
I can see it.
Okay. So this is my, some of you I heard about before the call started that you had mentioned that Sharon had shared this or whatever. This is from the call that I did with her, but yeah, this is all mine. But here you can see, so this is what I basically will give to my consultants to use. On our onboarding calls, I will literally go over this on the second call and unpack the entire thing because they need to understand just how important host coaching actually is. So my parties are 7 days. My parties start on Fridays and they end on Thursdays. You know, that probably seems weird, but Friday and Saturday are still the busiest days on social media for engagement. And the first 2 days of my party are all pre-party, so I don't show any products. It's all, you know, you have 6 people to feed, $20. What do you want to make? Sound off for a ticket to the grand prize or whatever prize you're giving. What's your biggest kitchen blunder? Sound off for 2 tickets to the whatever prize. So I want to create that experience, right, so that they stick around once I start showing off the product. It's our job to obviously, well, the guests in a party are going to come to a Pampered Chef party for things they need, and it's my job to create a desire for what they didn't know they needed, right, so that they're purchasing from those 2 kind of pockets, right? So my host coaching process starts on a Tuesday. I do not send out host packets. I know that's like a big no-no in the Pampered Chef world, but I don't do that because they're doing online parties and they don't want that. The overwhelming response from me is I'm doing an online party because I don't want the paper. I don't want all that stuff. I will ask them if they want catalogs because I encourage them to get some outside orders from people at work that may not be on Facebook or whatever. If they don't want, if they tell me they're not going to do that, I'm not going to waste the postage on sending them catalogs. So I'm very transparent, keep it real. Don't want to waste anybody's time. So I will, so it starts on Tuesday. And this is basically my host coaching to-do list. It has some administrative stuff in here for me too. But I know that because there's a level of the host working to get the number of members in the group. I use groups that we want, but there's also a level of kind of like control that you as the consultant can have to also grow those numbers. So I attack it twofold in this document. So what I do on Tuesday is the first thing I do, well, this is actually the first thing I do when I actually book a party in general. I tell my new hosts that I'll be adding them to a few of my past shows. A very good show and a very bad show. And this is based on whatever that average it means for you. So it could be a not qualifying show. And guys, I'm not a magical unicorn. I have shows that don't qualify as well. Or could be over $1,000 show. Okay. I tell them which show was good and I ask them to scroll and tell me why they think it went well. Right. So I'm not feeding it to them. They have to look and tell me. They're going to tell me things like, oh, well, the hosts seem to post once a day and they tag their friends in some of the products and they played the games. And I'm like, all right, great. Thanks so much for sharing that. Now, can you pop into the bad party and let me know why you think that didn't go well? And shocker, they say to me, oh, well, it's like the opposite. Like the host isn't doing anything. There's no interaction. She's not really, playing any of the games or commenting. And then I say, which host do you want to be? Do you want to be the host that earned $350 in free product, 4 half-price items, and cookware set 60% off, or the one that earned nothing? Because if you want to sign up to do this, I want you to earn something. And this is kind of how this will go. It can go this way or this way. What this does is from the beginning, you are setting the bar as the consultant for what the host needs to do to have a great show. And this knowledge essentially seeps into their subconscious so that every time they engage with you, this little voice of expectation reminds them of the person who earned nothing as a result of not following your lead. Okay, so that's the first thing I do immediately when they book a party. So in terms of a system, this is just an administrative thing for me. It doesn't follow a part of what I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But this has been really powerful because you essentially create some level of expectation. We know they don't have to do much, but they do have to do some stuff to have a good party. Okay, so that is when they book a party. So Tuesday before the week of the party. These are just screenshots for my team on how to set everything up so that they know. We go over that on the second call, but this just shows them how to do it with screenshots because some people are, kind of need to take it away and then look at it on their own. So you guys can look at this when I share it with Marie, but down here, that's all just setting up party. So down here on Tuesday, and so this is what I send my hosts individually. So I deal with each host individually all the way up from Tuesday to Thursday, yeah. And then Friday, I put all of my hosts in a group message. I want them to understand that I am individually invested in their party leading up to when I dump them in a group. Okay, so here I will say, hey there, I'm so excited for your Pampered Chef party to begin this week. I've created your Facebook group and added you, so look for a notification from me. Click OK at the top. Now it's time to add friends. You will want to add at least 115 people from your friends list because then usually 30 to 40 will decide to become a member and click OK to see the post, and 12 to 13 will order, giving you great party sales and host benefits. Don't prejudge. Everybody eats. The beauty of a Facebook party is that it really isn't awkward adding people that you haven't seen in a while. Note that my hosts who don't do this do not have good parties. Follow my lead. Think of close friends and family, foodies, people you know who love to cook, and folks with disposable income. And then this is the why part. So adding friends to a group is tricky because they have to click OK to be added. It sometimes takes people you might add a while to see the notification, so they will still appear as a friend you can add even after you just added them. I would encourage you to make a list as you add them so you don't add them multiple times, blah, 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 blah. And then if you can't find your group, here's how to find your group. Because everybody's settings are different. So if they have more restrictive settings, they may not even get a notification that they've been added to their own party. So this way, if they don't get one, I'm telling them, oh, you may not get one, so here's where to find it so that you can click into it and become a member. Okay? Now,
question on that, not to derail you, but somebody had asked about Facebook jail. Somebody doing it this way, is there anything that you've changed up since you wrote this based on the happenings this week?
So I actually just edited this the end of last week. So I was in jail myself for a day, 24 hours, and then I couldn't like or comment, and then I've been out and I've been liking and commenting like crazy. So I don't know. I think I don't know what the reasoning is, but I think Facebook is just moving in the direction of more authentic content, and I think they're looking. So I think if people are not as present on social media, and then all of a sudden they start being gangbusters present, I think that is a red flag to Facebook, because they think that it's some sort of spamming activity, because that's not normal activity from that specific account. I'm not really sure. I don't know anybody at Facebook, but I was in it for a day, and honestly, I welcomed the break. So I'm out of it now, but so for those of you that are still in it, I'm so sorry. I don't know, but I have not changed anything. I mean, there are a couple of things that I do now. I know that Leslie Caperton posted on, I think, Director Success about how she tagged a bunch of people in a post, and that sent her into jail. So that's something I don't do anymore, and I'll get to that in a second, and I'll show you how you can get around that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's what I do on the first day. So again, guys, I think another thing that sends Facebook makes them mad, is when the host, like sometimes people will say, oh, the host tried to add people and they got blocked or whatever, or they couldn't add anybody. When you make the host a moderator, then they can pull up Facebook in multiple windows, and they can see who they already invited, so that they don't duplicate add people. Because what happens is Facebook's not as smart as we think it is. So when you add somebody, if I added you, Marie, to my party, and you don't accept the invitation or click into the group in real time, you will pop up again as if I can add you, and that sends Facebook a message that it could be a spammer that is trying to create a group and add people to it and whatever. But when they create this, they make a moderator, they can look and see who they invited, so they don't add extra people or the same people again. Okay, so here are screenshots on how to do that.
The question was, you make her a moderator versus an administrator.
Yes, a moderator, not an administrator. I don't think as an administrator you can see who you invited. Oddly enough, I don't think you can. Okay, so, and then I just make sure, I always send this in the morning, but then I always make sure I double check in the evening if the host has added the 115 yet, or added at all, right? Because if not, you need to send them a personal message saying the following. I'm not going to go over this. Sometimes you may need to text them or email them if they might have a messenger on their phone and get a new phone and not upload messenger again. So you want to make sure that you have their other contact info, so that you can follow up with them if they don't respond to your initial method. You can read this language on your own. So that's it for Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the week of the party, I will send them individually this language. I'm so excited for the pre-party fun to start in a few days. Please post this text and link to your group together on your personal Facebook wall. It will help create some additional people who may have missed your ad, and remind them you're having a party. So you can read this at your leisure, but then you can see an example of this. They post this on their wall. Now, you want to make sure that you note how many people were members before they post this, because I'm going to have them post this twice, once in the morning and once at night, because as we know, people log into Facebook all different times, and so by the time they log in at night, this notification on their wall could be long gone.
Okay, so this is part of what maybe I think Linda and some other people were saying. How do you keep track of this? Do you have like a little spreadsheet for the week, or how are you?
I use Google Calendar, so I have reoccurring notices every day that says send daily host post, or host coaching, task, blah 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 blah, and I outline what the task is. And then when you click into the reminder, I have a description of exactly this. So, you could pull up the document, or you could pull up my Google Calendar, just copy and paste from there. Really, that's how I do it. I know some people use Evernote, or I have no idea, but that's kind of what I do. So then in the morning I have them do this, and then after they post it, again, you want to make sure you know how many members there were before they did this. Then I'll message them again and say, hey there, I just wanted to let you know that just from posting what you did earlier, your party members went from blank up to blank. That's blank more just from a simple post. Would you be willing to post the same language and a link to the group tonight? Your friends log into social media all different times. So again, here you can see I'm telling them why I'm having them do what I'm having them do. What is the return on investment from their minimal time, right? So then I send them the language again to go ahead and post. One other thing that this is another consultant kind of task for me. You want to, I go into the invited section once you click on members in your group. This is via the Facebook app. Do not try to do it on a computer. It will take you 100 years. And you have the option when you click on invited to send a reminder to all those people that are invited and previewing. And I always do this after I see that the host has done the second post that I just mentioned. And I don't know what Facebook sends out as the reminder, but all I know is that my numbers go up by 10 to 12 people after I send these out, and 2 to 3 of them order $50 to $75. So if I don't take the time to do this, I'm losing out on potentially $150 to $225 in sales. Okay, and here are screenshots of how to do that. So you can look at that. So that's it for Wednesday. Then Thursday, the week of the party, I will send this personally to each host. Hey there, I have a challenge for you. We want to get the number of members up in your party group. It doesn't matter how many members are in there. Facebook and its rules are always changing. Sometimes people don't get or see your notifications, and this can hurt the success of your party. If I give you the language to copy and paste, would you be willing to personally message 20 to 25 people from the group on the invited list who are listed as previewing that you added that you think would actually be interested in the party? It's just copying and pasting, right? So just like with a business opportunity, right? When you offer the business to somebody and they say no, they're much more likely to book a party because you offered them something that they turned down. It's the same thing with this. Some people will say no to this, okay, because they say, oh, I don't want to bug my friends, blah, 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 right? We hear that all the time. If they say yes, you can send them this language to use to personally message. If they say no, I would respond with no worries. I understand. Would you at least be willing to tag 15 to 20 people in one of the posts you did yesterday on your personal wall about the party who you are pretty confident would want to be a part of it? Good friends, foodies, people you know with disposable income, blah, 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 blah. And normally they will do what they perceive to be the lesser of the two evils. Okay, so again, you're capturing as many people as possible with a mixture of the host doing what we tell them and us doing what we can control. Okay, so then Thursday, I also link my post, my party template. One other thing I do on Thursdays, is I do that welcome post. You guys probably do this. You can see here in the group, once the members are in, there is a write post button. And you have to do this part to do what I'm going to talk about in a second. So when you do write post, it will literally tag everybody that's a member, right? And I include the language at the bottom of where they are all tagged, and I'll read that in a second. And guys, when you create a group and when somebody like you make them a moderator, the host, they are still listed as only seeing notification highlights, not all posts. So it's our job to get them to switch from highlights to all posts. Otherwise, they will see nothing unless it's a live video. Okay? So my language in this welcome post at the bottom is I pull a little graphic that says welcome from Google. I say make sure to follow the pin post instructions to set your notifications to all posts so you don't miss chances to win prizes. Like this post for your first ticket. And add your friends to the group. When you do, tag them in the comments in this post for two extra tickets. Note, for every like and comment, you are earning tickets to 1, the pre-party prize awarded Sunday, and 2, the grand prize awarded when the party ends. The more likes, the more comments, the more we fight the restrictive nature of Facebook that says, hey, Facebook, Nancy, Joe, Marie, Linda, Leslie, they want to see what I'm showing off. So show it to them. Okay? And then on Thursday, I just mentioned my pinned announcement, so I do a separate post that includes the link for them to order, what to expect, and again, instructions on how to change notifications from highlights to all posts. So that's the second time I hit that home. You can look at this to see what I include in this post, the interactive catalog link, the show link, and then I also outline what they can expect, right? So Sunday is Gadget Day, Monday is What's New, Tuesday's Bakeware. If I'm a baker and I don't care about what else Pampered Chef has to offer, I know, oh, hey, Tuesday's baking day. I can pop in, scroll, and shop, and then I get what I want as the consultant, the host gets what they want, and the rewards, and the guest gets what they want. Now, would I love for them to be engaged the whole time? Of course, but that's not realistic. So I will take their engagement any way they want to get it. Okay? But if you don't tell them what to expect, they're never going to know when to pop in. Okay? And then again, here at the bottom, I include that language about changing notifications, and these are examples of the screenshots I include that show them how to change their notifications on a phone or on a computer. Okay? And then Friday, the week of the party, I will always send a voice clip. Many of you know me. I was up very early today, 7 o'clock, but normally that is not normal for me. So you're not going to want to get like a video from this zombie in the morning. So I will send a voice clip, and I can usually rally in the morning with a voice clip that's like, "Hey, Nancy Jo, I just wanted to reach out with this morning with a voice clip to tell you how excited I am about your party. I can't wait to help you earn lots of free products from your couch. I'm sure you have a wish list that's long. It's my job to help you snag it all. I want you to remember back when you booked and I let you check out a bad and good party of mine. Remember which host you want to be. Engaging with your guests, tagging people in posts, and doing your daily host posts will help you earn tons of free product. Let's do this." That kicks everything off so that they remember, oh, hey, Steve is a real person, not a robot. And then that's when I dump all of the hosts into a group message and send them this language, which you can read. Basically telling them, here's what I'll send your daily host post. You want to make sure that you engage. The more you do, the more sales you'll have. And then I mentioned the kick credit at the end if they want to flip their party. And then here, these are samples of different posts I send to the host each day. I'm not going to go over that. The only other thing, guys, here's something new that I do, and it's amazing. My sales last week across my 8 parties were $2,000 more than the previous week. I feel largely because of this, okay? So I used to include the template, my games. I manually post my games now because you have the option when you do that welcome post with the right post button. Once you do that, you can then tag every single member in every single game every single day.
All right, repeat that.
Okay, so see here, so the right post thing I said before, right, where you click the right post button, everybody's tagged. When you do that, then you can do this, which is basically, I have sent myself an email with all of the games for my party for this month and all of the answers, okay? So and now you have to remember to do this every day. So I set another Google reminder, right, so to post the game. But I will go in and manually post the language, like take a guess, closest to win, whatever. And then when you, so here you'll see, this is just screenshots, but here you see this is Judy's party. So here you would click write something, right? You would start to write your text. You would click the little green button, which is photo. I'd add the picture of the game. Then I would click on this little blue guy, which is basically to tag people. And then you would click on the blue thing again, tag people. And then literally the entire member list comes up. So then it's just click, click. And here's the thing, people don't mind being added to a tag if there's a chance to win something. Now, it's much different if you do this, like order, the party's closing, order, then people are like, I'm a transaction. This is like, oh, he wants to include me as a participant to win something. After I do this every morning, guys, my engagement blows up. Like, I already have in my eight parties this week, I already have 4,200 in sales, and it's the 4th day.
Wow.
Okay? And this again, not my idea. This is somebody else that shared this with me. Okay? So this is, again, that's why learning is so important from people, because you always find new things, right? So, yeah, so this is a game changer, because what this does is just one more thing they're commenting on or liking, that then they're going to fight the algorithms to then see all of the other posts. Like, I usually don't have as many like comments on like my product posts as I do on my games and engagement posts, but now I'm having comments on everything across the board. And this takes like no time. And this avoids what Leslie was talking about in her video. Like, I think I used to tag people in the comments in the games, and that is now setting Facebook off to make you a spammer. I do this like immediately after one another, and I have had no problem in each party. Okay, so that's just something I do each day. And again, then here are just some sample posts. I send in the middle of the party, I send my host the graphic on how to place their order, make their wish list, because I tell them they have 2 hours to order when the party ends, and that's it. I don't keep it open for days. I don't wait. If the party is over when it's over, and if they would love for me to pick out their items for them, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so when you scroll down, so here's a graphic on how to do that. There's language. You can look at that on your own time. One other thing that's crucial to this, kind of just this whole process, is I do something where it has a terrible name, I won't say it, but I do this tagging the second to last day of the party in all my parties, where I pull up Consultants Corner and I pull up the back end, Consultants Corner and Facebook, each party, and I cross-reference who has ordered with who has participated and not ordered. And in my mind, if you can play, you can pay. So I'm going to tag each person individually that did not order and remind them that they have a chance to support their friend, and the party ends tomorrow, so the next day at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the link. So you can see the language here, at Brandy and Rick, just 2 days left to order to support Sarah, party ends 8 p.m. Eastern, here's the link. And guys, 99% of the time, they are appreciative to be reminded versus mad about being called out. Because many of them will unfollow because maybe I'm posting a lot and they don't like it, but they still want to support their friend in the end. And across my 8 parties, I will see $600 to $700 come in those last 2 days after I do this. Now, you can't do this too fast, okay, because Facebook doesn't like that either. So I'll normally do like 2 parties and I'll do something else. Then I'll do 2 parties and I'll do something else. Then I'll do 2 parties and do something else, okay? And then in this document too, there are some tips on recruiting and post my party and booking. You guys can look at that at your own time. But that's my system. So that's my system for host coaching. So there's something intentional that's happening every day as a part of the party through the party, because it continues, right? It doesn't just end right before it starts. And then, you wrap it up at the end. So that's all I have for that. Do you want me to go into the questions that I have written down that you sent me? Can't hear you. You're muted. Sorry.
No, in tagging those people, you're going back to any comment that they made, and that's where you're tagging them, hey, there's 2 days left. Okay, just confirming that.
Yep.
Okay, keep on going.
Okay.
You can.
So I'm just reading these questions that you sent me. If he's doing so many parties, how much time does it take for him to follow up and respond to all the comments? It really depends. I mean, I try to comment on everything. I can't say I'm religious about it because I just don't have the time, but I try to make the time to do it. I do set on my calendar a power hour every night that's specifically dedicated to my parties. It's not, I have another hour that's income generating activities aside from my parties. So I'm really spending 2 minimum on that. And I'm a night person, as many of y'all know, so that's when I fit it in. You can fit it in whenever. I do schedule the time, right? What does he do? Does he take notes on what certain people will say about the biz? Oh, so here's something I use. I shouldn't stop shipping. This is something I use, again, not my idea. Where is it? Cool. Can you guys see this? Okay. Linda's like losing it. Do you use this, Linda?
Linda, I'm going to unmute you. Wait.
Oh.
Go ahead. Now we hear you.
This is what I'm looking for, because I'm feeling it. This is my first week ever to follow up 4 parties, and the next Friday I'm doing 9. And I feel like I cannot keep up with, and I do your exact thing, and I know every Tuesday I do this, and every Wednesday I do this, and I've got all that down pat. What I'm freaking out on is I set up their party, I make sure that we're friends on Facebook, I make sure that I've done all of the pre-party stuff, and then when you're starting to send out that host challenge to get your bookings, and I'm getting my host to do it, and then I've got all these group chats that I'm trying to follow, and I'm trying to remember who was a yes, I'll do a party from this one, and yes, and that's where I'm really spending a lot of time trying to make sure I'm not missing people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So to be honest, I am an online party person, but I keep an old-fashioned notebook with all my parties in it. So
Me too.
Here. These are all my parties, and I have them all under the date that they start and who the host that I booked them from is. And so whenever I book someone in that group message, I'm like writing it down so I don't forget, right? Because it does get to be a lot with the group messages. So yes. I always have everything, you can have a planner or whatever, but I always have this everywhere with me so I can just write it down and jot it down. But this is something that Crystal Jackson, who's an executive, shared with my organization, and I don't think it's even hers. I think it's somebody else's. So again, it's not mine. I always want to make sure that I do not take credit for things that are not mine. So, but this is a great way. You can print this and you can make a binder, and this is what I do use to track like recruiting conversations, booking, so that I can be sure to follow up with those that don't say yes. So like I might even I usually label at the top like Shandy's party, starts da-da-da-da-da, ends da-da-da-da-da. And then and it's a separate sheet and there's a tab for the first, from that week of parties, and I have all of my 8 hosts, and then that way I can follow up with like, okay, well, who commented on the business post? And we had a chat, and then I write it down, and I schedule a time to follow up with them. So I find this is really helpful. And I can't say I don't love all things paper, but this has been really helpful for me, but also for my consultants.
Okay, can I ask you a quick question about this?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, it's where it says week of. So where it says name, you're putting all of your hosts for that week.
No. So week of would be the week of whatever the week of for the party. At the top, I would put the name of the host, and then the name would be all the people that I've had booking conversations with as a part of her party.
Okay, so then what's the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth?
Those are all the times that you follow up with them.
Okay.
So if I do the host booking, so for example, somebody might order $75 or more, and I might post and thank you so much, Linda, for your order. You'll love this quick slice. Any interest in hosting a party with me in August? It's 60% off. Any one item received from the catalog. I have date available. What do you think? That's the first time. Then the second time would be when I go ahead and I personally message her and hope that I can she'll see it. And maybe the third time is when I put her. I asked the host for her to be one of the host booking challenge people, right? And then maybe she orders. So then the fourth time is texting her, right? So this allows you to schedule all those times, because we know we often don't book parties or recruit people. Like I just signed somebody today. She literally had a party with me 4 months ago, got me 6 bookings, and did not sign up until today. And she's like, oh, wow, I could have made all that money from those parties. I was like, yep. But she finally signed up because I was following up with her. Okay. So again, I'll share this with you guys. Just again, I did not come up with it, but it was shared with me, so I will share it with you. What else? So let me see. Does he try to friend everybody? No, I do not friend everybody, because I think that's, and personally to me, that's a little bit creepy if you don't get permission to friend them, in my opinion. How many shows do you hold a week? 8 to 10. Do you run them 1 hour or multi-day, 7 days? System to run host coaching. Yep, I talked about that. I do the host booking challenge, which you all probably know. I'm not going to go over that again. But that literally is how I'm booked through almost the entire month of August, 30 parties every single month.
Wow.
To keep the topic geared towards growing a virtual team, let's concentrate on how, when, and what you say to grow an amazing team. I kind of went over that. You recruit more hosts than guests. I was 70% guests, 30% hosts, but now I'm 40-60, 40 hosts, 60% guests. I want to get to 50-50, because I think I look at it like a nonprofit organization. You want to have 50% earned income and 50% contributed income to be healthy. So I want 50-50 to be healthy in terms of making sure that I'm really not only offering it to everybody, including my hosts, but I have I guess I should say, I think a lot of times your great leaders come from people who were hosts because they lived through the process of being a host with you, and they understand your commitment if you are host coaching well. So to me, I have also found that the hosts that I have flipped are some of my top directors, and they're paid a title every month, and they're paid at the 15th. I just think there's something magic that happens when you do that, when you flip that. So my goal is to get to 50-50 to be the most well-rounded recruiter. You have a recruiting system you run through your party. So I offer the opportunity to my hosts 5 times, 3 directly and 2 indirectly. And those 2 times are 2 of the 4 times that I offer it to the guests in the party. So I will offer it to my hosts when I first send them that first message about watching how little I do to run the party in the group message to start off the party itself. I will message them individually, privately in the middle of the party to share with them, wow, if you were a consultant and this was your launch, did you know that you would be making this much money? if you're thinking at all about trying this for the summer, why don't we flip this so that you're making the commission and not me? Because I'm sure you could use this $250 for something fun. So, and then I always do a little hashtag, like just something to think about, right? Because you don't want it to be pressure. Then the third time directly is when they're checking out, and I'd say, you know what, Nancy Jo, this is probably the furthest thing from your mind right now, but what if I told you, and I already told them this, but I reiterate it, what if I told you that you could sign up for your Pampered Chef business and join my awesome team for just $59 this month? You just have to date me for 30 days. You're not marrying me. So your husband, he doesn't even be mad about it, right? Like, hashtag just kidding, whatever. You can say something different, obviously. And then, so that's 3 times. And then of the 4, I did 4 business posts on my parties. One of them is on the first day where it's like, ask me about the business, whatever. And then I will tag the host and tell them to kick things off. I'm forcing them to think about a question and be curious, right? And the second time is not, this is for the guests, is that I will post a link to an old opportunity event that's recent, and I will say if they request to be added to the opportunity event, scroll through it and comment with one thing that they learned on the post, they'll get 50 tickets to the grand prize. So that way they go on the opportunity event, they're finding out even more amazingness than they thought, and again, that's not my idea either. And then they will ask a question that that post something they learned that everybody else will see. So it will only impact the group and might also change their mind or make them more curious. The third time, I do a paycheck game where basically I post a picture of my paycheck, of my paycheck blacked out with the amount, and I say, Pampered Chef consultants make real money. This is my check for whatever month. Take a guess at how much money you think that I made in 1 month for a chance to win the prize or whatever. So then people their minds are blown when they realize what they can make doing this. So that's another one. And then the last one is I do a vacation post that says, I know this on Stoneware Day, but it's like, oh, I know this is probably out of place for this day, but I just had to share with you that Pampered Chef consultants can earn free vacations. In just 3 years, I have earned blah, 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 blah. And then the picture basically is a picture of like camping, a picture of Disney World, a picture of a cruise ship, and a picture of like a beach with a palm tree. And I say, which comment with the emoji for which vacation you'd love to take. And I say, I have the host start it off, and I tag them and say, comment with what your emoji dream vacation would be. So that way you're hitting the guest 4 times, you're hitting the host 3, direct, 2 indirect. What do you address in the first conversation once you get someone that shows interest? Just tell me if you want me to stop too. I'm over time, but.
No, this is great training. I think everybody is, and I told them they needed to ask you now or forever hold their peace. So.
That's true. Okay, so so the recruiting conversation for me, guys, it's really a dance. And I had a big problem when I started, and Stacey still told me this. Like, I was word vomiting. Like, I was so pumped about the opportunity. I was making money. I was like, I would not let them get a word and then edgewise. And eventually, Stacey was like, whoa, you got to back it up. She's like, because you are talking way too much and you are scaring these people. Okay. So whenever I would say that someone comments on a business post, I would reply at Leslie, and then I would answer her question, right? And then I would say, check your message request folder hiding in your inbox for a fun message from me. I don't give them the option to let me message them. I'm messaging them. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, now if they choose to find it and talk to me, great. But the return on investment from that could be great if I have a bunch of people that actually check it and respond. Now, the way that Messenger pops up the message request folder, because we know if you're not friends with them, that's where the message goes. It's changed on a phone. It's the same on a computer, but now it's different on a phone. You have to click there's a little icon with 2 people at the bottom that will have like a red number 1 if they if they've been sent a message. You click on that, and then there's a little circular chat box at the top right that will have another red 1, and that's where they'll find the message. So I will include screenshots of where to find the message, because it's going to be hard to find if they're on a phone. And then I would just say, hey, Marie, it's the Pampered Chef guy, smiley face. Are you enjoying the party? She would respond, yeah, I'm loving the games, maybe. Then I would say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're loving the games. I love to create an interactive and fun experience for my guests. How do you know the hosts? Then she might be like, oh, well, we work together. We both work for the Department of Defense. It's crazy busy hours, da, da, da. So what that does in my brain is that says, okay, she has a crazy busy job. So she probably makes decent money. She's overworked, underappreciated. So I'm going to go and lead in the direction of what would best serve her as a Pampered Chef consultant to get what she's not getting in her current life day to day. So I'm going to talk about something for her, right? I'm going to talk about, did you know that Pampered Chef consultants, we really are like a family, we have great resources and training and everybody wants everybody to succeed. Have you ever done something like direct sales before? Then they might say, oh, well, I tried it a long time ago, but I wasn't successful, so I gave it up. I would say, that's interesting. What do you feel that you were supported by your upline? Oftentimes it's not. No. And then I will say, well, really, it's direct sales can get a bad rap, but in this team, what I pride ourselves on is that, I set the pace for this organization so that every single person that signs up feels supported to get what they want out of this, and you would be no exception. And then I ask another question, right? You want them to convince themselves that this is the right opportunity for them. It's not my job to do that, and it's not your job to do that. It's your job to ask probing questions so that then they convince themselves. So that's really, it is a dance though, right? Like it's a back and forth. The wheels have to be constantly turning to go in the different directions that the conversation takes, right? You do your new consultant's launch party. I really gauge it based on the person and how I feel the first call goes. If I feel like they just get it and I feel like they're kind of a go-getter and they are going to self-actualize, then I want to empower them from the beginning because they're my next leader. They just don't know it yet. Whereas if it's somebody who gets on the call with me and like they had a hard time clicking the Zoom link to get in, like I'm probably going to need to run their first party and help them dip their toes in technology in general because it's, I don't want to scare them away, right? So it really depends. Go ahead.
I'm assuming that you're giving them exactly what you showed us, the virtual host coaching, and then you're using Post My Party, so you're giving them the outline for their party, or how are you? That was one of the questions that were in the chat.
Yeah. So my directors the understanding is that they are responsible for sending their teams their templates that they make every single month themselves, because we don't want to get into obviously we know Facebook jail is a real thing. And we don't want to have all these duplicate posts and things flying around. So they had a framework from me to go off of that for example, when the new products came out in March, I always do a new one for new products that I send to everybody. And then after that, they're on their own to create add their own games, add their own tips, all that stuff. Every month, the couple days before the end of the month, I will send an email to my personal team for all of those folks that are currently active or were active in the previous month that has the link to the Post My Party template, some instructions, the games, all the answers, etc.
So I'm just going to repeat it to make sure that I understand it and that everybody got it. So your personal team gets a new outline from you every month. Your directors are responsible for their own teams. And you do an organizational-wide new products when they come out.
Yep.
Okay.
What are the coaching tools? Do I have a specific onboarding system? Yeah, I took what Becky Ishii, Stacy Itzel, and Love Carpenter put together for the Strong Start back several years ago, and I just tweaked it to be more virtual focused, and I added in all the words to say. I think a lot of times new consultants just lack the words to say in terms of getting the bookings and stuff. So I'm pretty good at packing things in a way that is aggressive but not pushy. So Nancy's just smiling. So I think that's a lot of what's in there, but it's a 4-call. We do 4 calls over 2 weeks. The first is all about green dotting, goal setting, some administrative stuff, how we are a team that sells and recruits. We don't just sell, so that's not an option, right? And then the second call, I go over how to set up a party on the back end, how to set it up on Facebook. I go over the host coaching document, and then we talk about the $500 that's on the table to take if they want it. And then the third call is I am closing my parties, and I am screen sharing with them in real time. So I'm going over my checklist of everything that I do so they feel empowered about what to look for, what they might be missing. And then the day after that, we do a post-mortem on how their parties went. So did they go well? Did they get bookings from it? Do they have recruit leads? So it's similar to what's out there, but it's just kind of Steve-ified into my lingo. Mm-hmm. How do you encourage and develop fast-track directors? I already kind of went over that. Let me see what's in the chat. Let me scroll up. There are a bunch. what are you doing to keep yourself out of jail? Or you said that, how in the heck do you train everybody? I do group Zoom calls. So I used to do them one-on-one and I was losing my mind. Can't do that anymore. So I usually will have a maximum of 3 new consultants and they will be onboarded together. So they are onboarded as a part of the first 2 weeks. Like they're onboard. I call them onboarding buddies. So what they do is basically they're almost like accountability partners. So like if one of them is struggling and one of them's having success, then they will share with them the ideas and how they got those bookings, how they overcame the objection, blah 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 blah. And then also they don't always come to me to bug me with questions. They'll ask each other, which is we love that. We love that. So that's how I do that. And then this is a customer host loyalty question. Do you train your consultants to ask if the people they want to have a party with have a consultant they work with, or if someone wants to sign up? Yes, I do not believe in poaching. That's not the way we do this business. So I don't have them ask. I mean, if it's up to the person, I believe, to put forth if they have a person they work with, because if they don't put that forth, then obviously they probably aren't happy with the person that they used before. So I don't tell them, do you have a consultant, because usually the person will be forward and share that. I'm on direct ship. If a guest orders early in the party, they cannot add anything to their cart. My guests get frustrated. Given the scenario, would I still offer a free gift? The Friday challenge, which I think you're referring to, is epic for me. So like my parties are qualified in the first usually the first day, to be honest, because of that challenge. So for me, I am all about spending a little bit of money to make a lot of money. So if you had to spend like $2 and you're going to sort of toaster tongs and you're going to ship them out, and I mean, for me, I think it's worth it, but you really have to gauge of how you need to, again, study your numbers if you decide to do that, so you see if this expense that you are incurring is worth what you're getting from the parties for doing those extra gifts.
Am I understanding that your gift is the season's best that you're mailing?
No, so I do for the Friday challenge, which basically is if they spend $75 before the weekend is over, they will get not only the guest special, but they're getting the extra gift from me. So corn butter, more Latin flavor, a kitchen paring knife, whatever. Now, my pre-party prize is a season's best, and my grand prize, if the party is less than $1,000, is something that's like $5 or $6, like a seasoning. And if it's over $1,000, they'll get something from like that's less than $10. So like they might get, I don't know, I'm trying to think, Scoop Loop or corn or the corn, I don't know, something that's less than $10. What else? Let me see. You can if you use Express Party checkout. Okay, there you answered that. What if you don't have 2 shows to show the new host? Everybody has 2 shows to show the new host. So if you're a new consultant, then I would offer up my 2 shows, a good and a bad show, for the new consultant as someone too that they book. The only issue I have with using Express Checkout, he said ask your upline to add you. Yeah, I rarely get people who have invited 150 plus to have that many actually join. What's the magic? Well, I kind of went over all of those things, all the host coaching things, like the reminders and the posting on their personal wall and personal messages. Why do you make the host a moderator? You went over that. What's the difference between, I use OneNote to post my host coaching notes. My head is spinning. Sorry, Connie. What the 7-day party, do you have a drop in activity engagement in the latter part? I have engagement on every single day. So yes, it's front heavy in the first 2 days, but there is engagement. There's always 4 or more recipes every day, 4 or more tips and tricks, and then at least 1 engagement post. So like pool or beach, sound off for a ticket to the grand prize. That might be in the morning one of the days. So there's always, and they're scattered. So there's an engagement post in the morning, there's an engagement post midday, and 1 at night. And the one at night might be the recipes, the one at midday might be the tips. But they always are excited to comment on which recipe do they want to try first. Which tip are you excited to try first? Okay. Back to the reminder post on phones. How do you select everyone? Do the reminders. You can't select everybody. You have to do it individual by individual, but it's worth it. You use the same post for every party. I change out my tips and tricks, games, and recipes every month. Engagement posts every 3 months, because I normally am booking out about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. So I'll swap it out. Great idea. I love it. When you host coach, are you also asking the host 5 times? Yeah, I already said that. how many posts a day do you do? Oh, I do 16 posts a day. I know you're probably like, what? 16 posts, 4 in the morning, 4 at noon, 4 at 4, and 4 at 8. The key to not having people mad at you about, well, number one, you post them close together so that they all really just get one notification 4 times a day. But I also have posts in my party that say, hey, I'm going to be posting a lot, and here is why. Don't be mad at me. And then I show them how to unfollow. If they want to unfollow, I'm going to catch them later. Remember how I showed you that how I do that tagging? They're going to have commented on something in the first day or two before they leave the group, or unfollow it so that I can tag them. Pardon me. You do their launch party and whatever that. How do you flip it if the guests have already ordered? So basically all you would need to do is I would go ahead and help the consultant recreate a new link on the back end under their account. And then I would simply have the host, aka new consultant, personally message the guests that ordered, telling them they started a new business and that they either need to replace their order or provide the credit card number for the order. And then I will help to take care of getting all the other order information because I'll have that in my email. So really, I just need their card. We don't.
Not on direct ship.
No. So direct. I don't know what the case is for direct ship.
Okay.
Do you use the virtual party packs? Okay, so I don't use the virtual party packs. I do tell my consultants that there are resources for them to go and look at if they want to use them. However, in my opinion, they are too polished. They do not scream authentic, real person. I'm a real person just like you and me. They are too buttoned up. And as y'all can tell from this call, I am not buttoned up. I am anything. So I am not buttoned up. I'm a misfit toy, which I think I got. So let's see what else. When you are doing so many parties, do you tally points? No, I do not tally points. I pick the most engaged person who's ordered, and they're the grand prize winner. And it makes sense because everybody knows that that person was all over the party. Don't tell anybody I asked, but can you add me to a successful party? I can add Marie to a successful party, and she can add whoever wants to be added to the party. I don't have to do that, but Marie, I will add you to one, and you can add them if you want.
So
I'll add you to one. It was a $1,400 party. She got me 6 bookings. This isn't possible when you're on direct ship. Thank you, Anne Marie. Okay, so I think that's it. Does anybody have any other questions?
you're muted, Linda, if you have a question. If anybody has a question, remember you have to unmute to ask.
Okay, so I had asked a question and I think it just got jumbled in all of the other questions over there. So I have actually been invited to 2 groups lately, unrelated to Pampered Chef actually. And, or one was related, one wasn't, but I never saw the notification that I was invited to this group. So I said, ooh, let me check out this whole send reminder thing. So I told the person, all right, I can't find the group, so why don't you go into where it says invited and where the little 3 dots are, and please send me a reminder. That's the one we're talking about, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so I've had 2 people do that and send me a reminder, and they've said I've sent it, and I see nothing when they said send a reminder. So, and I have gone down and I have done that for my host and done send reminder, send reminder, send reminder, send reminder, send reminder. And I just don't, I've never gotten it. So I don't know if they're actually getting it.
But were you actually were you on the invited list?
I was on the invited list. They saw me. I was on the invited list and they said, you haven't joined the group yet. And I said, okay, so let's check this whole send reminder thing out. And I said, go into where it says invited, go into where it says send reminder. And I mean, I am all over it because that's actually in my host coaching video that I send my host. I have that part in my host coaching video to have them send the reminder, but I don't know that it's actually working.
I wonder, so I don't have them send the reminder. I send the reminders.
Well, and I've done that too.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of is because I told you I don't know what I don't know what is sent or what it even is. Maybe it pops up in their newsfeed.
Well, and that's why I wanted to see what it looked like. I thought, okay, I'm really curious to what the send reminder looks like, but I never got anything when they did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I know is that my numbers do go up after I do it, so I keep doing it. But
Okay.
The only thing I can think of is I think it all depends on the algorithm. So I think if you aren't necessarily somebody that like it could be something that pops up on their wall or on the news feed, and it may be like if you are just if you're just the consultant for their party, but you're not necessarily like commenting on liking on every single thing they post every day, like maybe maybe it just shows up, maybe it won't show up. I don't know. All I know is that when I send it, my numbers go up. I don't know. I don't know what goes out. Maybe I should Google it and see, but I mean, the numbers go up. So I don't know.
If I could pop in, I had a host I could not invite to the party. She showed up on my friends list because we had friended each other. And so somebody said maybe her privacy settings were funky, but neither one of us knew how to fix that.
Yeah, I don't know that, but I do. It is probably because her privacy settings were, because sometimes I have people who will be added to the group and they still can't, and they do accept and they still can't comment on the posts. So and they'll like complain to me and they'll say like, I'm trying to engage with so-and-so's party, but I can't. And so I'll just make them a moderator and then all of a sudden they can comment on everything. And
Okay.
that's just like a guest. So I think.
Well, I was doing a private event, not a group, so maybe that would work. I don't know. So anyway.
Yeah, Facebook is just really, really, really on the restrictive side of things. So like, I don't know what people can or can't see. So that's why it's just our job to try to attack it as many ways as we can, you know?
Yeah, I had a weird thing over the weekend where I would post a picture of a recipe or a product and then my text, and I'd get that little notice saying, this is not in accordance with our whatever our agreements are. But then I found if I just posted the picture and then came back and edited it, I could put my text in and then send it just fine. So I don't know.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I couldn't post any links, but then I could edit and add the link in and it was fine. So Facebook that's the key. Like, you can either deal with what Facebook hands you as it being the main vehicle for how we do this, right, and kind of try to combat the changes, or you can jump ship and do something else, like go to school or whatever, and I don't have time to learn something for right now. So, we just got to kind of work our way around these wonky.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Sure.
I have a quick question. So, Steve, you were saying on a phone you can send the reminder to everybody instead of clicking one at a time.
No, on the phone. It's easier to do it's just click. But if you do it on a computer, it's like you got to press remind, then back it up, then scroll, then press it and back it up, then press it. I don't remember that.
Okay, I misunderstood because I do it on the computer all the time. But yes, it is faster on the phone that way. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question about your onboarding. Are you offering any kind of director bound or 6 Weeks to Success at all for all these people?
Yeah, so we do a Get the More You're Looking For event, which is called the Director Bound Meeting on Corner. We do that, but I made it my own. But we do that every quarter, really more than that. And so I have run a Director Bound program every 6 weeks since January of last year.
Okay.
Every single 6 weeks. Never took a break, never took a nap, every 6 weeks. So yeah.
And you run it for 6 weeks, or you run it for 4 and then you take 2 weeks off?
Well, I just recently I'm trying out a 4-week thing, which I don't really like, to be honest. So no, I run it 6 weeks and then the next week I start another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they don't make it the first time around, do you let them come again, or do you just use fresh people?
I usually just use fresh folks unless they show that they have a consistent business. So like if they are submitting $2,500 in sales for a 3-month period, then I'll revisit them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just say something for all these people who are feeling incredibly overwhelmed right now? I jumped on this bandwagon with him. He didn't know it, but when I watched the Sharon thing, and I did exactly what he said to do. And I took we call it the Steven skeleton. So I took the Steven skeleton of host coaching and I added my meat to it. And we did our own parties and we set up our scent share, and I taught my team all of this, you guys. And I had my director on my team and we worked together so hard. And let me tell you, we started this in February And my numbers have grown every single month, recruiting wise and sales wise. And I had one of my biggest months ever last month of 13,000 in sales, which is good for me because I normally do like 6 to 8. So let me tell you guys, it really does work. Don't look at the system that he's going to share over. Don't look at it as the big elephant. You have to look at it as one little bite at a time. And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Yep. Love it. Love it.
Yes. Steve, this is Nancy Joe. I first of all want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time to do this for another group, because I really believe that as a company, we will grow together the more we do this across the company. So thank you so much. Secondly, when you're adding all these people every week from your team and you, do you let them jump into your 6-week program, or do you have them wait till the next one starts?
So we don't do 6 weeks to success. We are doing something. So there are some other executives and I that are doing this program it's kind of like that, but it's just focused on summertime, but and like getting through the summer and being successful. But we don't do 6 weeks to success, because normally my new consultants and those of my directors are qualifying in their first 2 weeks. Okay. So they already have, my qualification rate is pretty high and our directors are pretty high too. So like they're ready to go in director bound. Well,
that's what I'm talking about, is your director bound program that you're running every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Do they just jump in right away? Whatever week it is, doesn't matter?
No. So we do make them wait until because I employ the pass system. I stole it from Lead. So to be a part, so the expectation when you're invited, when I message somebody, I say, oh my gosh, Nancy Joe, you've been invited to be a part of our exclusive director bound program the last 6 weeks. Here are the expectations and the dates of the calls. I just want you to understand what you're committing to. And I go over it, and then I say you will have 2 passes as a part of this program, which means that if you miss a Zoom call live, or you miss a homework posting before the next call, or you miss 2 of each, and you have to take a 3rd pass, you will be removed from the program.
Okay. So when you're doing so many fast track directors, some of them could be 6 weeks into their business before they even get on that program.
Yes, but we teach them from the beginning that we sell and recruit. So it's like, yes, you're getting started with your business, but that doesn't mean that so the director, when they're having their coaching calls with their new consultants, is saying, who have you shared the business with? Who have you talked about the opportunity with, right? Because I remember when I started, Stacy would always ask me so who are your recruit leads? And I'm like, I'm just trying to sell right now. She's like, who are your recruit leads, right? And I was very hesitant at that point, but then look where we are now. So we're trying to instill it in that in the beginning for not only the consultants to understand that they should be doing it, but that the directors who recruit them should be comfortable asking it of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Sure.
Well, at this point in time, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'd like everybody to unmute to just give him a well-rounded round of applause.